By the way, nerf Zerg.
Ha.
So I have to
good
go
joke.
fix the nerf. I just got the joke. That
Wow, you just...
that went over my head as I was reading it. That's actually really good. I like that. The nerf jar you'll notice is missing from the stream delay. When I recreated all the overlays, I forgot to save that, so I have to actually go through our most recent broadcast and find what the numbers were. So I don't actually know what the current tally is. I don't want to lose that though before the patch. But at any rate, we are getting into the series for Detox, a very interesting map and a very unique map to BaseTradeTV. And NightEnD asks, is this map good for who? And the answer simply is the attacker. Talk about that more in a moment. Bottom left side, though, playing for my insanity now, it is going to be the yellow Terran player, Botvinnik.
In the top right, as the blue Protoss, it is NightEnD.
Oh, Zombie, I didn't realize you and NightEnD had that kind of relationship.
Neither did I.
Alright, so quickly explaining, the reason this map's really good for the attackers, everything about it is designed counterintuitive to most of the rules of StarCraft 2 maps. Your main base is on the low ground. That's defender's disadvantage. Your ramp to the everywhere else is pretty far away, and your third is 2 entrances. We've been over this many times that we've been on this map, but yeah, there's just a lot of reasons this map is pro-attacker, not pro-defender.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I would put Detox in the camp of you know, pretty even for TVZ, and then in order, I think, of who's best to worst, Zerg, Terran, Protoss. So that's not what NightEnD would probably want to hear, but, you know, he didn't ask me before, so I get to tell him. Not that he had a choice. This is the default first map of the round 3, so there's nothing he can really do except just try and, I don't know, bring it back in the next 2 games, if he even loses one here, because it's not like this is so imbalanced of a map that Protoss is it's laughable when they choose this.
So it seems to me as if NightEnD has been hanging out with our friend Fuser, perhaps.
Oh god, I forgot about him. God, does he still play?
I don't know. It's worth noting that Botvinnik, this is clearly his first time on the map, because for those who don't know, as Terran, you actually have a really nice wall off over here at your natural. Just the barracks and the depot alone will cover it. But, of course, you're not usually too worried about that wall off, versus Protoss, the same way you are, say, versus Zerg.
Yeah. Always funny to see when people put the bottom wall off down. That was a very odd leap. I expect it to go that way, I suppose, and has to disengage. This is not a very good map for Reapers. There's no way into the entrance except by going through the natural.
I wonder if they added like 1 grid space here so Reaper could get up, would that be too broken? I mean, this isn't a map that's staying. It's a map that's going actually soon, but it's kind of interesting thing to note because we've never really looked at this side of the base. But
yeah, I don't know.
NightEnD brings up an interesting question here for me. And if this is something you don't want to get into, just say so, and we'll save it for another time, or just never talk about it again. But this sort of it's jokes. It's jokes. I don't know how close you are with NightEnD. I'm going to assume you guys aren't super duper close though. So this kind of to me, it like borderlines harassment coming from like a player to a caster, right? And again, I'm not trying to say he is or isn't. I don't know you. I don't know him well enough to say like, okay, you guys are this. But what's annoying is this sort of commentary. I've received a lot of as well, usually out of game and less friendly, more mean. So at what point is it okay for players to actually talk like this to somebody? That's my question.
I feel like we're covering 2 different topics, basically.
So the question isn't whether NightEnD is like a sleazeball scumbag here. That's not what I'm asking. Just the example spurs the question of like, you know, you guys don't see a lot of this stuff. A lot of stuff happens actually behind the scenes, out of game, more between scenes,
Sure.
and that's why we don't show a lot of that chat.
Yeah, like Fuser.
We're referencing
Yeah.
Fuser. You guys don't know this. He's actually been incredibly like sexually harassed of Design Grab in really not okay ways.
Very obnoxious, yeah.
But what's kind of annoying is like, you know, we're not. I just feel like it sucks because we'll get comments like this, and then as a caster, we have to go to the game being completely unbiased, not say shitty things about them, be like, yes, this guy played really well. This asshole, like.
Right, yeah. I can think of the other like scenarios you're talking about. I guess I know that some other players have made jabs at things
There's
that
been a
they shouldn't
few.
be,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think basically if he continued going after that last one, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? But if that's going to be the last, then I'm still going to be impartial. But
I mean, we technically don't have rules written saying you can't be like this to another human being, much less a caster.
It'd be so hard to actually regulate.
Right, exactly. It's almost like Twitch chat. Like why? Like we wouldn't allow something like this in Twitch chat. So at some point, it's gonna be like, why do we allow it in tournaments? Just gonna brings up that discussion.
It is interesting. I do like this answer, by the way. If Fuse doesn't play, you can't 2x anymore.
Oh, the 3 minute ago burn.
It is really weird though, because I don't know NightEnD at all. This is the first time he's been kind of weird.
No, I figured he's probably just a little bit not happy with, the strict zombie grub decision making. Last time his barcode friend tried to play, and we said,
yeah, he messaged me, and since he actually added me to his friend, his name turns up as Lightning. So you don't like done it in the first place.
Rubbing temples. Okay, anyways, just food for thought, I guess, for the viewers as well. Just things to consider, because there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. But at any rate, 3 bases are set up for NightEnD, so his economy's just humming along. Botvinnik, though, is sticking on 2 bases, and it's not a bad thing. 2 base builds can be really powerful versus Protoss. If you can shut them down early and get advantages, then you'll take your 3rd later and come out better for it. But for the time being, I do feel like Botvinnik playing a little bit slower, and I'm imagining this is just because he is uncomfortable with the map.
Probably. I find that really unfortunate because I do think this map is going to be favorable to a Terran that is very aggressive. That's like dropping in the left and the right and then right up through the middle type of deal. But just going for Liberators is also pretty good. Liberators are definitely good on this map. There's a lot of dead space and opportunities to abuse. Like there's this main, the natural also is abusive. You can get in between the main and the 3rd to hit the 3rd too. This is definitely a good move. Like drops, Overlord drops, meter harassment, Liberator harassment. It's all good on this map.
That was funny. Well, Anubis donates $5, and this does require a Stargate to deal with, so that's why it's on the way. I guess no pylon in the back. You probably can't squeeze a pylon there, actually. I don't know if the one on the side would work. But
I think that might be what NightEnD was dotting about. Because that's like, if you can't get stalkers behind there, then you try and get a pylon behind there, because a probe can fit through the mineral lines. And if you can't do that either, then you actually have no answer except for going for a Stargate, which is what he's doing now.
Well, Anubis Shades, by the way, the message says, in Russia we have a saying. It's a pretty super saying. Kami Kami Ya? Oh, it's a Super Saiyan. Kamehameha. Okay.
You get it. You got it.
For everyone's sake, it was not written like that at all. It was just... well done with the puns, sir. Well done.
Well, this is good use of force fields. This does have this map does have a lot of ramps and whatnot. So, trying to hold off the Marine army, but he actually misses the force fields. Marines can still kind of sneak in there, get on top of everything.
Yeah, now you take that fight really well. The tank's not even necessary to keep chasing us back because of how good Marines are versus what's left. But he does want to consolidate his forces, not leave the tanks out of the fight. 2 Colossus are on the way, and the Colossus are pretty good versus the Marines, but not if there's nothing for them. Like, there's not going to be a layer of adepts, no charge lots, even though charge is on the way. Oh, these probes are going to get absolutely wrecked heading back towards the main, and this is all kinds of bad. Liberator finally getting dealt with, by the way. So NightEnD kind of has been beaten back to 1 base economy for the time being, but can finally go back to mining in his main.
That's going to be game, probably. He's down half the army supply. Marines on the bridge will get sliced and diced to buy the Colossus. That's where the tanks have got a focus fire.
Well, NightEnD too busy crying rather than playing, I guess. Gonna walks what little he had left into that army. But GG gets called, and Botvinnik will take the first game in this best of 3.
Yep.
So congratulations to him. Oh, got a message from a Corsair sponsor. Right. Oh, so this reminds me. I've actually been pretty bad about this. We gave some Corsair Gear away on our subscriber celebration day. And I have the winners actually selected. I just haven't had... I probably should have done this yesterday. This is actually my bad on irresponsibility. I have to actually contact the winners and get all their shipping information in order to forward it to the sponsors so they can send them out. So if you did win something on our sub celebration day and you are tuning in, I'll check your inbox tonight. I will definitely make sure today to reach out to all the people who won Corsair Gear, because the sooner we get it to them, the sooner they can ship it out as well.
Nice.
All right, one moment. Okay, we are in game number 2 here in the best of 3 for the Corsair Cup. And spawning here in the bottom left side of the map, he is going to be the blue Protoss. It is NightEnD.
In the top right, as the yellow Terran, he's Botvinnik.
So NightEnD, especially recently, being the last person I want to try and justify something for, it is worth noting, though, that the map pool right now, regardless of Detox, so pretend we're even just using regular maps, is not very great for Protoss. And there's some other issues with it. Mana actually wrote... Well, I don't agree with 100% of everything he wrote. He wrote a pretty good write-up on the Battle.net forums, expressing some of his thoughts regarding balance and things within StarCraft right now. But it is safe to say right now in the game, Protoss is in a very weird spot for both PvZ and PvT matchups. Because, and I think that this sounds so silly to say, Protoss are having to relearn to play the game in a pretty big way, because for a long time, in both matchups, you really could rely on majority Stalkers to make up your composition, or Storms in both situations to make up your composition. You can no longer rely on just that. And while we are seeing some players struggle with more quote-unquote typical strategies, it is the really good Protoss players that have clearly, just gelled with the new way Protoss works in Legacy of the Void, who have developed new strategies. I referenced Neeb like nobody's business. Puck's been pretty good too. Patience is someone to look at. There's proof that Protoss can work and Protoss can beat some of the races where other players are finding imbalance. But it does take a pretty big leap from what Protoss used to be. So a lot of these players who are struggling, okay, part of it definitely has to do with the map, but I'd say a lot of it has to do with playstyle.
Sure. I guess there's not much else to talk about as the Dusk Towers are having some pretty standard openings here. So continuing on that, I think Protoss is in a bad spot. They've had to relearn to play their entire race from the get-go. Same as Zerg, actually, in Heart of the Swarm, but even more extreme in my opinion. Zerg and Widowmines really, of course, the Zaltman of Broodlord Infestor, they took a long time for them to figure out how to work against it. I mean, there was a big period where Zerg was really not looking hot in Heart of the Swarm.
No.
Which is funny. So I don't think Terran has ever looked too bad in the beginning of expansions. But Zerg looked bad in the beginning of Heart of the Swarm, and Protoss looks bad in the beginning of Legacy of the Void. Huh, that worked out, didn't it? But the point is that eventually they figured it out. We had people rely more on mass mutas, and that was really starting to work, and then Blizzard actually did step in and reduce the Widowmine damage, or the radius, and that helped too, but they were already figuring it out, so I always wondered how Heart of the Swarm would have looked without it, but I'm sure the same thing will probably happen here. We'll have Protosses figure it out more and more. You'll have them working like the Korean Protosses are actually making Protoss work right now and making them look okay, and then Blizzard will actually come in and step up and do something about it, whether that is maps or changes to respective units. I know they're talking about Corrosive Bile change.
Yeah.
That's certainly something to be expected. They're actually they brought up Needleisk. I think they realized that that's a problem, but that was something else that was hit on in that Battle.net's thread.
So a couple things to note here, bringing this back a little bit. First off, we have an upset in the brackets, I'd say.
Yes, we do.
Defeated Poucho defeated Sulky 2-1. Now, all things considered, this isn't super insane. We got to see Poucho firsthand last week, and he does play a very strange way to play the game, we'll say. Cheesy, for sure, but I'd say congratulations to him, because Sulky has thrived in some cheesy situations before, so congratulations to Poucho. But secondly, you mentioned Dust Towers, you mentioned Standard Belts, and I don't know how this had gone over my head. NightEnD was the first guy we started seeing really bring Colossus back. It wasn't Mana, it wasn't Patience, it wasn't any of these other Protoss players I would normally reference. NightEnD was one of the first players to really start seeing make Colossus happen again. So this map being what it is, I was kind of expecting this to go down that path, but he's going for Blink first, he's going for sort of a more defensive third base setup. It's kind of interesting to see whether he'll go that direction or not, because there are certain ways that you can still all in. I hesitate to say that because all in's not what it used to be, but you can still all in off 3 bases instead of trying to go for macro Colossus type thing.
I thought that's why because you mentioned if he's thinking about going Colossus, and I was like, yeah, because he's NightEnD. I thought you were already connecting the dots.
When Night ends, Rifkin could go back to his coughing. Can we get a ban in chat, please? God damn it.
But we do have, I mean, Botvinnik, his 2-base tank push worked so well last game. But that was a lot due to because, like, NightEnD was not mining off of one base, basically. That Liberator actually fully denied 90% of the mining. I think, like, you could have gotten, like, 1 probe at each, like, end mineral or something like that. But it seriously was pretty bad.
One grid space, 1 pixel forward, and I could have hit a probe. Tries to advance up ever so slightly. Was gonna hit some stalkers, which is nice.
Yeah, that's actually pretty bad for NightEnD. He still, well,
it still doesn't reach
definitely
the probes,
can't blame
though.
the map on this one.
It's like just slowly inching.
Can he overcharge now?
I think that's in range of the pylon.
Oh,
no.
are you kidding me?
Look at that! Look at that on the ground. That's like again
my
1
God.
pixel, 1 pixel for 1 pixel, because you can see the Liberator. That's the Liberator. That's the pylon.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Well, regardless, Botvinnik has found success with a Liberator, and while this hasn't completely shut down and denied mining like it did previous, it has killed, what 6 probes, I think, in total? Yeah.
It's just also the amount of attention that has to be given to this.
Wait, how did that...
Yeah, how did that hit once and then not again?
I don't know.
What the
Liberators...
How many... He lost 3 stalkers to this and 6 probes, like...
I will be the first person to say Liberators are broken. Like, we've had several discussions about this in casts previous. They talked about it on the late game yesterday. Liberators are not at all units that are well-rounded, but rarely do you find a position where you can abuse one like this, especially on such low health. And I gotta say, this sounds a bit silly. NightEnD, he might not have realized that 1 stalker got the hit, because it would take 2 more hits to kill it. It's got just barely enough health.
Oh, Jesus.
It would actually need 2 shots.
This is some serious. This is one. It's like Detox. So once again, his follow-up push might just be in it to win it here. Like, there's still been a lot of stalkers lost. There's a lot of mining time lost, even though it's only covering 1 mineral or 2 mineral patches right now. Well, it's still a lot to pay attention to. And his main army is actually not that big. He's down 40 army supply.
Well, as you say, it's worth noting as we go to the income graph, while the push comes down the middle of the map, this push is so big, 30 supply ahead, 40 supply ahead, because he chose not to take a 3rd base. So NightEnd's had that economy rocking and rolling. Botvinnik hitting a few seconds too soon, by the way. His combat shield's still about 10 seconds out. But he's going to take the fight. Mortal shield already gets popped.
Is also like 10 seconds out here, so it's like, do I want to meet with charge or want to have combat shields? Combat shields finishes first, so there's charge as well, but you know what? There's not any zealots, so...
No. Well, there's
like 4 of them.
Small handful. The tanks will very easily just pick and take pot shots here. We got some zealots coming from the other side. They get taken care of pretty quickly, though. A bit of a non-issue with this many Marines. +1 on those Marines, making them just tear through everything. Barriers popped on the Immortals once again. GG. Botvinnik.
Goodbye, Protoss.
Goodbye, Protoss.
Sweet dreams. No tears now.
Swing low. Okay. Congratulations to Botvinnik, who will continue to advance in the cup. And I kind of almost want to follow him now, because I don't know who Art is on the brackets that he's going up against next. But Guru and Lily Kaneen, if they haven't started, I think... they've started. Okay. Then I vote we follow Botvinnik, just to see this sort of, like, again, relatively unknown player continue to rise to success. Are you cool with that?
Alright. Sure.
All right, so we'll go to a small break. If we could have cast Lily Kaneen and Guru, I definitely would have loved to have seen that. But we will go to a small break and see you guys in a few moments. So thank you for watching. We'll be back soon with more of the Corsair Cup. Wrong scene.